Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of
What Anna Said podcast.
So good to have y'all here tuning in with us. As y'all know, our last podcast episode, we had Fa with us. Some of y'all know her as Fierce Fa, Fit for You. And we also have another guest with us this morning. She has had a hand in our community bringing health and fitness to our Polynesian community. And we are just so glad that she was able to be here with us. And our special guest is Muimui.
Yes.
Some of y'all know her as Move with Mumu. She is a fitness instructor, a Zumba instructor, and just all around health and fitness when you see Mumu. Yeah. So the way that I've come to know Muimui, actually, I remember it was from Jane and Lena's class. So Jane and Lena's class, I remember I seen her over there, and I remember seeing her and thinking like, wow, who is this? That was my first impression. Like, who's this fit person? And then find out, wait, she's a mom. And then find out, wait, her kids are older. So I remember seeing her, and she was just getting it in this class. The fitness was nothing to her. I'm dying on the side. Okay. And she is just going right through it. And I just remember her, and she was doing like she'll warm up the class or have the Zumba. And I remember my sisters would go to the Zumba, and I remember coming to her Zumba one time. And yeah, like I said, I was dying out there. Okay. In Texas heat, and we're at the park. Yeah, it was a lot. But that was my first time ever meeting Muimui before we became and had our Empower Fitness. How about you guys? What was your first time meeting Muimui?
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much, Muimui, for doing this episode with us. Thank you so much for, everybody's busy these days. So thank you so much for agreeing to it, first of all, because when Kim reached out, and you immediately responded and agreed to do the episode. So we thank you for that. And just like Kim said, the Zumba instructor, the mastermind behind empowerment, right? Fitness, empowerment fitness.
Empower Fitness.
Yeah, where did empowerment come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yes, the mastermind behind Empower Fitness, and so we're so grateful for this opportunity to be able to sit down. Just like Kim said, your first introduction to Muimui was through the Zumba, the free Zumba classes that she was holding outside at the park for our community. And that was my first introduction to Muimui as well. This was during COVID, I believe. During the time, when just like we spoke about in the last episode, gyms were closed down. People were scared to come out. They limited even being together to like 10 maybe, like under 10 people. And so Muimui had this program, and she put it out there on the social media, and it got back to me somehow. And I remember seeing Zumba, and I never really tried Zumba before, and I wanted to get in there because Zumba is so much fun, dancing and working out and staying active. So I wanted to give it a try, and I went with my kids, which I love so much, because that's the good thing about having Zumba outside, because we were able to bring our kids, and it was at the park. So we were able to dance, they were able to play, and everybody was able to be active. So that was my first introduction to Muimui, when I met her as an instructor, and seeing the positivity that she would give each class and the energy that she brought to each class, showing up as a zombie and then having all that like that infectious energy. It really helped to pump us up, to keep going, to get those dance moves in, especially as a mom. Muimui was like, look, we don't go to the club, but this is where we're going to get it in. And so that's why it was so much fun. And just from there, seeing everything that you continue to do within the community, pushing fitness and bringing health to the forefront, especially for our people, through Empower Fitness especially, that is just so inspiring. I'm so inspired by that. So, Sally, why don't you take it away with your introduction?
My introduction, I believe, was through Tia back when they did the classes earlier. I don't even know how far long ago, but I feel like I only had one kid at the time when I was introduced to the Zumba, to the idea of Zumba or move with Mumu. And I never made it to class because even though I did dance in high school, I'm not my body, I need to have like routine, like You show me step 1, 2. Yes, we're gonna do a count 5, 6, 7, 8. I run on that, and so it was really hard for me to get into Zumba. But then I know you were offering also, as Anna mentioned, those other classes. So I knew about Move with Mumu because of seeing her on social media when other people attended her classes, especially with Fall. We had her on our previous episode. She was always going to these classes back when he was at the rec center. And I was like, man, I need to make it out there, but I could never find the time with the kids and everything. But I was like, maybe I'll go one day. Then Anna went before I even got to go. And just seeing the way that Anna and her daughters were able to have fun and they were really getting it, I was just amazed, but also intimidated because there's so much energy, as Anna mentioned, that comes out of Muimui. And that energy is going to affect and infect you. So you need to be ready because once that energy comes, and I don't want that. I have 2 left feet. That's why I'm like structure. So if I get that energy from Muimui, someone's going to have to walk me away. So, yes, they're going to notice. Muimui, how did you get started with your love for fitness in general?
I need to hold this to my mouth. I think it all started after I had my first baby, after I had Asilika. And being athletes, I know you guys all played sports, right? We've always been active, like as kids. And then when you have your first baby, right? Like my body did changes that I had no idea it was doing. And I remember I was about 36 weeks like you, Kim. And I remember sitting on the table and my OBG was like, Muimui, you gained almost 90 pounds within your pregnancy. And I remember just looking at my feet, like, so, I was like, I don't care. I can't wait till I'm going to give me a patty melt. Like, weight never was an issue to me, right? So I never took it seriously until she said, the things that I might be getting. She's like, well, you have high blood pressure and you're on the verge of being a diabetic. And I looked up at her and I was like, are you kidding? And she's like, no, like you need to make changes like today. Like if you're hungry and you already had a meal, eat an apple. If you're still hungry, eat another apple. And I was like, I just thought that was hilarious because it was also new to me. So I was like, okay, I need to start making changes because this is my first baby. I need to be alive for her. So I think that's where it started, right? But I just started doing what I already knew, right? And then I think when it got serious is when I moved to Utah. And I moved in Utah back in 2009 and I just had 2 of them. I had Asilika and Alisi. And when I moved there is when I became super depressed because I left my home. I left my sisters, right? And I left my mom. I left everything that I was comfortable with here. So when I went to something so brand new, which is if you haven't been in Utah, no offense to anyone that's from Utah, but all my life I lived here. This is all I know is here. And when I moved there, I didn't feel like I fit in. And so I went depressed mode, right? And then I went depressed mode and I was just like, man, where do I fit in? Somewhere along the line, I found that fitness pulled me out of that and it was my outlet. And so after I had Azzy, my third, is when the real fitness journey hit, where I felt like, man, whenever I would go work out, I'm literally in tears, just crying every set. I didn't know what I was doing, but that's where it started. And I just started off by just doing what I already knew, right? Okay, don't eat that much if I'm hungry. Okay, go for a walk, right? And go for a run. But that's where it started, is when after I had kids and then when I moved to Utah is when the real fitness journey hit.
Oh yeah, I really love that, Muimui, just hearing your backstory on how you came about doing health and fitness. And it's truly an inspiration because I know us as moms, we did mention that in our last podcast episode, how sometimes, especially in our culture, that we put ourselves last. And, our family, our children, everything comes first and then we get whatever we have left to give ourselves. If it's that patty melt, we're gonna take that patty melt, And you just mentioning, you gaining weight, 90 pounds, and you're like, okay, like that's fine. Yeah, it also it just reminds me of my first pregnancy, or my second pregnancy with my daughter, my oldest, and I gained 100 pounds. I went from 176 to 276, and even then, I didn't think it was a problem either. I was just like, okay, that's fine. Never saw health and fitness as really something until after the twins, just like you after your third one, Azzy. Then that's how you went into fitness and health, and how it was also an outlet for your mental health, emotional being. And that's why it's so important for us to invest in ourselves in health and fitness, because it really helps with just all around.
Yeah.
But yes, that was just so inspiring. I just wanted to ask you a question. Going into health and fitness, what, if anything, who inspired you to take this journey into health and fitness?
Man, so no one in particular inspired me. I know, just listening to the last podcast, an instructor, but to be honest, no one inspired me to be like, get your butt up and go move. It was just me feeling gross, ugly, depressed, dark inside. And I was tired. I already know, we know how we are when we're good. And I know that feeling. So I was like, okay, I need to get out of it. And then I'm seeing my kids crawl around, right? And it's like, no one's going to come rescue you but you. So I remember being in our small apartment and doing my fall and looking at Asika and Alisi, and like I was like, man, I need to do something, anything. And trust me, there's so many celebrities and people that I see on day. There wasn't Instagram or Facebook back then. It was MySpace. And dang, I'm old. But nothing in particular inspired me to be like, oh, I want to be just like her. It was just me wanting to feel good about myself again. So I was like, hey, no one's gonna come rescue you. You better get your butt up and go do something. So that's I think myself, the spirit telling me to move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That takes like a really deep level of intentional living, thinking, especially as a mother. That's just the love that you have for your kid that turned around into love for yourself, so that you could be alive. Like you said earlier, I need to be alive for this kid. I need to be healthy. And you brought up even the doctor telling you about your weight gain, and you just thinking, Hakuna Matata, like it is what it is. Right. And that's so real in our community, especially of, Polynesians, especially as Tongans. We like the foi vae, the big legs, we're always going, that's the admirable, that's the standard.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
That is the beauty standard of our culture. But then when that beauty standard turns into health difficulties and it turns into illnesses and things that are holding us back, then we need to rethink those things, because I was the same way when I had my oldest and I turned into a balloon just with the swelling, and I kind of liked it because my legs are getting, look at that calf, like it's giving tree trunk. Having to change that mindset that that's not okay if it's unhealthy, and just like you said, your doctor said, if you're hungry, eat an apple, and Kim, you saying that at the end of the day, with the energy you have for yourself, if a patty melt is it, that's the way that you can award yourself, then I'm gonna go for that patty melt. And so having to retrain your mind to get that dopamine hit from somewhere else rather than food, because food is like instant gratification. I can heal all the parts of myself that's tired. I deserve this, and
it's
in
love.
And in that same matter, you took that idea and said, yeah, I do deserve this. I deserve to be better than this. Like I deserve, like I'm like all this depression and this anxiety and feeling like I'm away from all the my familiar, my home. Let me take that and fuel it and channel it into making myself better. That's amazing. That is so amazing. Especially like for me, it had to take others around me to help me bring that awareness. I didn't didn't have those kind of thoughts. And for you to look within yourself, I think also because you had no choice but to look at
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
because you were
Yes.
alone.
No,
there.
you're so right. And because I think if I was here,
Right.
like where I was here when I was pregnant to my two,
Right.
right? I was the first one in our family to be pregnant.
Right.
So everyone was babying me. Muimui, what do you want to eat? So everything I was craving, it was like right there. Lupu masima and talo, please.
Right.
And it was given to me. And so yes, you're so right for pointing that out. Because when you're taken out of your comfort zone, you have no choice but to turn to yourself and the Lord.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's so true. Like it just takes me back, like you said, to the Lord, like the story, of Peter getting out of the boat, getting out of his comfort zone, and you had to get out of your comfort zone to grow. And that is just so amazing because look at the ripple effect it has had now in our community with you moving back here to Texas now and the things that you spread. I mean, it's just so vibrant. Your energy is so vibrant. It's so positive. It's so infectious, and it is reaching us. I mean, even us, and even working with other instructors. What motivated you to be an instructor in the first place? Because it's one thing to do it for yourself, and it's another to do it for your people.
Okay, so whenever I looked in myself and started to move, I would just walk. I didn't even join a gym. I didn't even know what Zumba was, right? But there is one thing that I do love to do besides playing volleyball when I was young was to dance. It didn't matter where I was at. If I hear music, I don't care how dumb I look. I'm in my own zone. And
I need to take a lesson from that because I care too much. That's why I said I don't want to. That's why I didn't want to go to one of your classes because I knew your energy was going to affect me, and let's just hide in the corner.
No, I know exactly what you mean, though, Sally, on that. But I was at a rec center, right, and I was walking around the tread, or not the tread. They had like a trail, a track, and me and my two girls, and I was pushing them on the stroller, and I hear this music, and I was like, "Where is this music coming from?" And then I took the elevator down and I went and I peeked in the room. And it's funny because this girl would never, ever know how much she hit me, right? Yeah. And I remember she was a redhead, Palangi lady, and her energy was just like, so it was, I loved it. And, but mind you, I looked in the room, there ain't no one color person in there. They're all Palangis, but the music in there, they're playing Ludacris. And I was like, what? And then I was like, who's leading? Because the class was packed. Wow. And I looked up and then I can see her on the mirror and homegirl was getting it. Wow. And I was like, but I couldn't go in class because you're supposed to have a ticket. Okay. So I went and asked the front desk lady for how do I want to just try her class. And she says she has another class this week if you want to come. So I came, they had a daycare, dropped my girls off, and then I joined her class. And you guys, the only workout that I've ever done before that day was just like, just walking around, jogging, doing squats on my own, like nothing very, because I didn't really know. And went in there and I'll never forget, I had gray tights. I sweat very easily, okay? But I didn't think I was going to be sweaty, right? I had gray tights. And a long sleeve bright green shirt. And I remember I was in the front of the class because I wanted to see this girl. And then they have this mirror. So I remember standing in front of there and man, she was getting it. I was like just trying to mirror her, and her energy was just so contagious. And I was feeding off of her energy. And I didn't even care how many people was behind me. Until one of the songs stopped. And then I walked to go get some water. And I looked at the mirror. And all I see is my sweat line. You guys, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going this is so fucking mom. I'm going home. So, but that lady was one that inspired me about Zumba. And I think that's when Zumba first started. And it was just her music and her, the vibe in that room. And ever since then, I was always trying to catch the next Zumba class, right? And then this hot Moa girl that I met in Utah, she got up and danced, and she was so good, y'all. Like I didn't even do any. I just stood there, just watched her, like I was in a show. Like she was that good, that inspiring, that afterwards, she came up to me and she's like, hey, have you ever thought about being an instructor? And I'm like, oh, heck no. I'm the girl in the back of the class. I'm just trying to get my workout in and go home and do some laundry. Like, I'm not even trying to do that. And then the next class, she was like, come up here. And she had me come up and do a number. And that right there kind of switched it up for me, right? Like, I was like, oh shoot, I better bring it. Let me tie my hair back. Let me tie my shoes. And when I got up there, I wanted to do that. And seeing the people smile and feeding off their energy and my energy, it was a high. And I wanted more of it. And so, but I never shared it with anyone. And I was just like, man, that'd be so cool. Just have my own class. Until I came here. And then no one was having Zumba here. Because I remember Tia and them had their Zumba. And I was like, whatever happened to that? And everyone had babies. Everyone had kids. And then, but I came back and then Joe V had their boot camp. So I would come there. And then all of a sudden, one of my friends came down from Utah and ran a certification class. And she messaged me and she was like, dude, come. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm coming because I don't even know a Zumba class to go to here. So I started it. Vise found out and she goes, hey, do you want to teach Zumba here? And I go, heck yeah, Zumba with my people. Yes. I mean, anyone, but there's a different spirit when you're with, there's that mafana, like, I don't know how to, right? Because sometimes I be bringing that, and then it's like, wait, why aren't you? So it was like, but whenever Vise brought that up, man, that was such a blessing to be tied up with her in the Jovi. And so it all started by that one Palagi girl that she would never know. And I always wonder about her, like, man, I wonder if she's still teaching. But
I love that. That's why it's so important to exercise your gifts because you don't know who you're affecting by just doing what you are called to do, supposed to do. And I can only imagine those that have been inspired by seeing you. I know with us, when I first met you and I saw you at Zumba, you would also come on the days that Lena and Jane would have their step classes. Then I would see you because I knew that this was new to you. And so watching you as an instructor, coming as a student to something that was new to you and seeing you being so open to it and so like you didn't care if you looked silly, goofy, you were stepping on that board, dancing, the call outs that you didn't know, you would dance, you would improvise. And that to me, I love that excitement. I love seeing that in people. I love when people just go and they're so passionate and they're so accepting of new things and different things. So that from the beginning, I had always admired that about you. And with my sisters, we're always like, goals. Every time we see you, we're like, goals, just hopping around.
Like Anna said, goals, literally. There is just something about you. Before even meeting you, when I would see you, I was like, wow, what she had something like, I want that energy, that fire, that drive, just to like, just that passion, just to be you and just be in the moment and dance and not care how you look, if you look crazy or if you have sweat marks, just like, like you're just having a great time. And at the same time, it's fitness. And every time we saw, it was like goals, period. That's the goals. Yes.
And what a disservice it would have been if the Samoan girl in Utah did not challenge you with that being an instructor, and for you to get up there and that click happening, like as you're instructing and you finally like the wind beneath your wings, like this is it. This is I'm taking off. This is my moment. Like I love that because the amount of people that are blessed because you decided to go forward with that is inspiring. And I hope that our listeners that are listening, whatever it is that is inspiring you or it's challenging you to move, to follow through with it because you never know where it's going to lead. And I'm sure that with you being an instructor and starting to get this thing off the ground, it hasn't always been easy. I'm
Right.
sure that there were challenges,
Right.
especially you're already a mom.
Yes.
You already have your ministry as a mother in your
Yes.
home, as a wife, and then to take on this thing,
Right.
because being an instructor is also kind of like being a mom,
Right.
to your class,
Yes.
and having to know your students individually, what
Right.
works, what doesn't work.
Right.
What were some challenging things that you faced as an instructor, whether in the beginning, getting set up, or even now?
The challenge was for me to make sure that I don't do what works for me, right? And to feel what my class, what works for them. And that's why a mirror is huge. Like I wish we had a mirror here,
Right.
because it makes me, I can see, right?
Yes.
How everyone is moving, how I know to modify,
Right.
or if I need to slow it down, or just stop the music in general. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, cut, just stop. Everyone just stop. Because sometimes when we're at the rec center, dude, no lie, like I would look at them and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are we doing, class? But yes, and I need to know how to tap into them and not hurt anyone's feelings,
Yes.
and
That's big.
to know how to modify it in a way that I'm still teaching you, you're
Yes.
still teaching me, because
Right.
they teach me all the time.
Right.
And they teach me more than I teach them. But it's to think right on the spot how to change the whole choreography.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
That's challenging.
Especially if you have it set, right? Like you got your own playlist and you know how it's gonna run. It never will. My class never runs how it's supposed to run.
Right.
And I think just experience going by every class, you know how to. Yes. Oh, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that number will work better with this. Okay, this number will work. Maybe I should leave the ratchet one later for tomorrow. Like I know how to, but still there are challenges. Like, dude, one time I went to South Lake and I had a Zumba class there.
Yes.
Different clientele, different area.
Yes.
And I remember right after I did a class, two ladies came up to me and they were like, do you know that this song is it's not, but it was a reggae, a reggae song, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Majority of my music is like that.
Yeah.
I go, if I have to feel it, if it hits me in the first beat, that's the song.
Right.
I have to, and then unless someone says, oh, Muimui, that has cuss words on it.
Yes,
Oh crap,
yeah.
I look for the edit version.
Yes.
So the two ladies came and told me what the music was about and that my movements didn't match it. And it almost like crushed me, right?
Wow.
And I looked at her like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I didn't know. And I had to apologize right away. Of course they got offended.
Right.
And of course they went and reported it, right?
Yeah.
Which hurt me,
Yeah.
right? And annoyed me at the same
Of
time.
course.
And I'm a new face, new
Yes.
person in their comfort
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
So it was new to me that I had to know, okay, before, if I knew that I was going to go sub there, I should have went and come and checked it out first, just to kind of get a feel of the class,
Yes.
and but it offended me so much that I was like, I don't know if I want to come over here anymore because it wasn't me,
Right.
and to change, to change who I am, which is my playlist.
Yes.
And you'll see there's different step instructors too, right?
Yes.
They have different
Yes.
music.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I didn't know that
Yes.
until I went to different step classes. I was like,
Yes.
oh, there's a step class. Okay,
Right.
I know the
Yeah.
basic to the basic.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this music is kind of
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
my kind of music. But that's okay.
Yes,
I'm going to keep that
that's
to
okay.
myself
Yeah. Right.
and I'm going to see another step
Yeah.
class. But it didn't end up that way where I had to step back, and I was talking to the instructor that I subbed for about it. And she said, girl, if it don't work for you, go somewhere else. Don't change nothing. And it confirmed to me, right? Because I started second guessing my whole playlist.
Yes.
And I was like, man, because you feel you're true to yourself
Exactly.
with how you run your class.
Yes.
Because if you're not, your class will feel it.
Exactly.
The vibe is fake. And the energy is not there. Yes. And so I never want to bring that to my class.
Oh
You
yes,
know?
yes. I completely understand and feel exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Because I know for me, if if someone was to tell me that,
Yeah.
I would be crushed. I wouldn't want to show my face. I don't want to teach. I would be offended.
Yeah.
It would hurt me, especially then to go report it.
Yeah.
And just trying to change yourself, like you said, you shouldn't change yourself because that's what makes your class your class, and that's why
Right.
you bring who you bring because they enjoy your class so much. And just you mentioning how other step classes had their own playlist,
Right.
it's so true. You'll
Yeah.
go to a step class, and some of the classes they're like, okay, it's fun, but then there's like the ones that I love, and
Yeah.
I would love to show out at
Yeah.
their classes. So I just want to applaud you for that because that didn't stop you. That roadblock that came in your way, that challenge, all it did was to better you and push you to further continuing what you were doing. And because of that, you have made such a huge impact to our community and starting Empower Fitness. So I just wanted to ask, how did you come about that, bringing that vision, having that vision to start something in our community with instructors in our community, retired instructors, pulling them out from their homes, those moms that have retired for a long time. And how did that come about? What made you, what drove you to starting Empower Fitness?
So it being an instructor, I had to stop, right? Because my life was just getting too hectic. And so I had to stop for a little bit. But deep down inside, I always, it's like that, it's the excitement. It's the little excitement that I can enjoy for me being a mom, wife, whatever, all the different hats that we all hold. Yeah.
Right.
But it's that little fun that I love. And I always look forward because my best friend Law, she runs a volleyball camp. So the last couple of years that I don't teach, I'm always looking forward for that. So I'm like, well, at least I get to do that. And running it with high school girls is like on a whole nother level. You gotta dig it deep and bring it out. You gotta pull their skin because the attitude is so real. You know what I'm saying? And yes, and being a step instructor, you could. Like sometimes I want to just stop and enjoy, but when I stop, they stop, and I'm like, oh shoot, okay, I gotta, but you gotta bring it, right? And being with the high school kids, which I really want them to do step. I really want Law to add step because it creates coordination and movement, feet movement. But that was the one thing that I kept thinking, I want to. That's the one time I can enjoy myself is doing a Zumba for Law's volleyball camp. But what inspired me to start Empower Fitness was I can see every day. I'm going to bring it to Tongan girls because that's who I see all the time. But I know that other race suffers from it too. It's just postpartum and depression. And I see this while I'm at church, where I could see the mom and I could totally see myself in them, where they're just focused on their kids, like every little thing, and they're always just thinking about them, which is how we're wired. We're wired that way. That's how God created us. And in a way, I wanted to be like, dude, like I wanted to inspire them in a way where I'm not being fiepoto.
Right.
But it worked for me. So I was like, man, if this can inspire the younger moms, right? Like you guys to know how important fitness is, like it'll take us to a spiritual level, that we never would have thought we could get there, right? And our kids need that. Our spouse needs that. Our home needs that. Because when we feel good inside, we're a good mom, we're a good sister, we're sometimes a good wife. We're a good daughter. We're good to anyone. And I truly, truly believe it, that if you feel good, you show good. And it oozes with everything that you are, everywhere you go. And I see that a lot of, women and I think social media too, has how it's, we look at it and we're like, that's who I want to be. That's no, it's not. You're perfectly the way you are. You're how, yes. So it's been sitting on me for almost a year until I reached out to Nala, and she's our Relief Society president in our ward, and she's I asked her, and she's over like the women in our ward. So I told her about the idea, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, Muimui, let's start it." And I was so happy because I was like, "Dude, if she shoots me down, okay, it's okay." And I told her, but when I told her, she was like, "Have you talked to any of the other ladies to ask?" And I was like, no, I haven't, because I already knew I couldn't do it by myself. There's just no way with my schedule. There's no way I could do it by myself. So I reached out, and every single person I talked to said yes.
Wow.
Dude, I went up to Afi, my husband, and I was like, "Can you believe they said yes?" And he was like, "What?" And even he was shocked. He was like, "What?" And I go, I don't have to teach by myself, because it came down to it where I love it so much, and you can probably agree, Kim. I love it so much. I can do it for free. I can do it for free. I'm gonna do it anyway. You know. But I do know that Visa taught me something when I worked out with her. When I was part of Joe V, is I told her, "Girl, if no one can afford it, it's okay. We don't have to charge." And she said something to me, and she says, "When you put a dollar amount on it, it brings value to your class." And I was like sitting there like,
That's absolutely.
Wow. And I was like, wow. She was like, yeah, so that's why, even if it's $5, even if you want to start at $3, even if you want to. And so I was like, okay, because I didn't want it to be a burden to someone if they wanted to come and work out. And so she was like, let's just start it like that. So starting in Power Fitness, because we're holding it here at a church setting, it is just, but even if like we stopped, right? It's just getting you started. Just come here and get it started. And the workouts that you do here, go back home, do it at home, go do it at a park. But it's something very simple, very easy, and just a boost to get them started. And
we definitely agree with what Visa said, because I remember, Anna, when we first started going to Jovi, back when they were at the rec center, I remember they had the charges, the fees, and I told Anna we were just paying, at the time we were only paying drop-in fees,
right? And
then I told Anna, hey, let's go all the way for that the monthly fee, because that will really push us to come consistently to make our money's worth. Because we're investing in this, that's gonna have us get our butts up early in the morning and be accountable. And so adding value, putting a dollar amount on that definitely gives it value. And that also shows, like, are you going to be committed or not? Because sometimes when something is free, you're not committed. You're just like, well, yeah, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. But once you put that dollar, you're committed. You're gonna show up.
And it's a
psychological.
No, I mean, I was gonna say, like, for an instructor too, right? Like, we can also think, well, it's for free. They're not like, we can. They're not gonna miss anything if I don't have. And then then you think like that as an instructor mind. And then at the class, be like, well, but that's true, Sally, what you said. If you put it. Oh shoot! I put $5 in this. Even if it's $5 is a lot. But it's like, hey, I put $5. I better make it worth everything. But yes, it's so true. So true.
I love that you have a fire that could not be extinguished within you, just burning. I mean, for you to look forward to going to the step at the volleyball program, and for you to look forward to that. I mean, those things call you, like you're a magnet to these things, like a moth to a flame. You just couldn't wait, and you're thinking of ways, I need to continue to pursue this, but I have my other responsibilities. So how can I do it? I know I'm gonna gather the community of instructors, and we're going to give all these consistent classes with different instructors, and then to be bold enough and have the courage to reach out, because being hurt, being told no, and doors closed in your face it doesn't feel good to anyone. It doesn't matter how long you've been in sales. It doesn't matter, you've been doing this forever. It always does something to you personally, to your ego, to your confidence, and for you to reach across, and extend a hand to partner with these other instructors and say, hey, come alongside me as we walk our community through this, because they need it more than we need it for our own business and our time. Our community needs it.
Yes,
and then
definitely.
for you to get
Definitely.
everyone together and to agree to a schedule, because everyone has different timeline.
Yeah.
To agree to a schedule and come here and commit to it, and then for them to do it for free.
Yeah.
That, especially
Yes, that part.
especially as instructors, because you guys invest so much into just preparing for a class,
Yes.
planning,
Yep.
and then what I love is because now the community knows, hey, these are all the ways that you can be active and you can try it out without having to invest in a step or
Right.
invest in workout equipment.
Right.
These are all the things that you can come and try out and see
Yes.
what you love and what drives you.
Right.
And so that is just so innovative, like for you to think about, especially with us, Tongan, sometimes we're a little bit behind on some things, especially with health and fitness and exercise. So for you to make it in a way where you have to hold our hands, because this is not information that our community is seeking. We're not looking for a fitness
Yes.
in our area. Closest
Yes.
gym, no.
Yes.
We're not doing that. So for you to literally hold our hands, come, let me show you this. It's open, it's free. We have it in the church setting so that it can be free to you. Like
Right.
this is a service we're trying to provide to you, and for you to, like you shared with us earlier, the negative experience you had with your students that said that they didn't like the music, whatever. But for that to not turn you off and turn you away, that just shows this is your truly your calling, truly your passion. I mean, just hearing you talk about it, we can see that fire that ignites every time you talk about it and talk about like the ideas that you have and the vision. I'm so excited for Empower Fitness. Like this is just the beginning. I can only imagine the things, what it will turn into and what it will develop into. And for you to bring it forward, we're so thankful, like on behalf of the community who probably doesn't even know how much we need it. Yes, we are so thankful for that. So thank you.
Stay tuned, y'all, as we continue to dive in with this conversation with Muimui on part 2 next week.
Thank you for tuning in to our NSL podcast. Bye.